I now call this meeting of the Amateur Detective Club to order. I'm Tyler Riley, cop and a half.
I'm Melissa Meli, the spy.
And I'm Tristan Miller, the saucy sleuth.
Today's show is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering our listeners a free audiobook with a 30-day trial membership. Just go to audibletrial.com/ADCpod and browse the unmatched selection of audio programs. Download a title for free, start listening. It's that easy. Go to audibletrial.com/ADCpod. And I would just like to recommend Jeff Rodkey's We're Not From Here on Audible. It is narrated by my good friend, Danny Martinek.
Oh. So you have a good friend.
I have a good friend.
Besides us. Fine.
I have a fine friend, indeed.
You're allowed to have other friends.
But I don't allow you guys to have other friends.
I know.
I know, it is like
It
a
is
weird
kind of,
power
yeah,
dynamic.
It's a strange double standard, but you know.
But I like it. I'm into it.
Darn right you are.
Okay.
Great way to start off the podcast. So, what are we doing today, gang?
Today,
we
are somehow here the day after daylight savings on the day we're recording this.
Oh, yeah.
And sleepily reviewing the TV series, the pilot of the TV series, the #1 Ladies Detective Agency. If you haven't yet listened to our episode about the novel of the same name, you should do that because we're probably going to reference it a lot.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true, yeah.
Though, in the other episode's defense,
Yeah.
this episode is kind of referenced just as much.
That is true.
Because I keep talking about
You're like,
the
I've seen the
television
pilot.
show.
I've seen the pilot. I've seen it. I saw it. I liked it. I've seen it.
That's true. That is absolutely true.
Yes.
So you can't really listen to one without the other, I feel.
They're companion pieces.
Companion
Yeah,
pieces.
exactly.
Spiritual sequels.
Two for the price of one?
Yeah.
Sure.
Which is
I mean,
$1 on our Patreon, folks.
Yeah, I mean, or free. But, but yeah.
Yes, or free. That's in the small print.
Asterisk.
Yep. Or free.
Or free. Yeah. So this one was produced by BBC in conjunction with HBO. And it was starring Jill Scott, Anika Noni-Rose, and I am going to butcher this name. I am so sorry.
Is it Lucian?
Yeah, Lucian.
Lucian Masmati.
This one premiered on, it was in 2008, March 23rd, 2008. Gosh, we're like hitting these anniversaries. Because this episode will probably be released that same week.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. And sadly, it did not last very long. How many seasons was it?
Just one.
Just the
one.
one.
Its lead producer, I can't think of his name at the moment, passed away during the filming of the first season. And they were like, well, without him running the show, ratings aren't wonderful. And this also like is around the time of like the writer's strike that killed like a bunch of shows
yeah, I remember
as
that.
well.
Yeah, sure.
So it was that with the death, and then the ratings were just fine.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
Which is a bummer because it's a very fine show. It's very fun. And I would eventually like to talk about like the adaptation from the novel and how they're like tonally, I think, very different.
really,
Yeah.
All right. We'll get into it.
Now?
let's get into it.
Okay. Well, basically, it does not very different, I suppose, but like basically the show is funnier than the novel. I think there are a lot of moments that, and maybe, perhaps, it was the performance that I listened to that did not allow the humor to be anywhere nearby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because she was a very dry read.
That's fair. I forget,
You read it.
Yes, I read it. So I
Yeah.
didn't, yeah.
Like,
that
with your
I can
eyes.
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I did try to listen to,
Whereas, the secretary character in the novel, the way it was proposed in, at least the adaptation that I listened to, was not humorous in any way. Whereas in the show, she's the best part.
Oh,
she's so good.
Goodness. I love Anika Noni Rose in everything I see her do.
It's amazing.
Always.
She's great.
Yeah.
Yes.
She also had like the same haircut and glasses as Christina, my girlfriend.
Oh.
And so we're like, it's you. And she's as uptight. So it's very nice. It's like representation does matter. It's very good.
Yeah, no, she's fantastic. And they make quite a bit more of Mama Kutsi, the secretary, in this than they do in the first novel, at least.
Yeah.
Which is lovely. But yeah, so we get a lot from the novel. It starts out, we see the main character, played by Jill Scott, Maramotsue, but as a child. Her first name is Precious, with her dad. Her daddy. They never say dad.
Yeah.
Literally never. It's always daddy. And we get this beautiful intro sequence where we have these beautiful sweeping views of Botswana.
Yes.
And Tyler, in our previous episode, alluded to that a lot, the fact that there's like all these gorgeous landscape shots that and that's one of those things, like, because as you know, you're either reading it or listening to it in the novel form, you know, you get the description of it where it's very efficient in film, where you can be like, there you go.
Yeah.
Botswana is to this show what New York is to Sex in the City, in as much as it is another character.
Oh, sure. It is another character.
Yes.
That is right.
All right.
The withering look that Tyler gave Tristan just
like,
then.
I don't understand you. But...
Where are you going with this? Yeah, so we see Precious with her daddy, who is teaching her, you know, how to be observant.
Memorizing skills, blindfolds her and goes, what's on this blanket?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Wish I had gotten that treatment. Maybe my memory would be better. You have no idea.
Yeah, it's very sweet, very endearing. We get to see like the establishment of their relationship. So we get a pretty quick history of, like, you know, her growing up, and then we see, you know, her grown up and her daddy is dying, and that's very sad. And they have a lovely little scene. And so we don't really get the flashback that we get in the book,
right?
Because we start out with one of her first cases in the book, whereas this one just puts that kind of in. Everything is much more linear, in the series, which makes sense. So yeah, we get kind of a quick idea of what has happened in her life at the funeral. So it's said that her estranged husband is at the funeral.
Yeah.
And who is it? Her dad's lawyer or something?
Yeah. Lucky Sasana.
Right. He goes up to her and says, "Oh, well, won't you at least say, you know, talk to him?" And she says, "No, because the last time that I did that, he spoke with his fists, and the last funeral we were at was the one of my baby that I lost because of that beating." So yeah, it paints a very succinct and vivid picture of what her background was like. But her dad has left her all of his cows, and, you know, men keep trying to advise her on what to do.
Particularly Lucky Sasana as well, who is her father's lawyer, as we mentioned.
Yeah. So she says, "You know what? I am going to sell these cows, and I'm going to start a detective agency." And we get a very cute sequence of her, like, going and looking at real estate and, you know, not having any of it, and then getting...
I love her so much, because she's not like she's not like bossy or like uppity or anything, but she's just like, I'm not about this. I'm just like, she won't suffer fools in a way that is very, very positive.
Yeah, she's really great. she just, she sees a place that she doesn't like, and she goes right back in the car without saying a word.
Like, why would I bother? It's very nice. I love it so much.
Yeah.
Iconic.
And, yeah, so good. And then we see her find a space in an old converted post office.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's where she sets up shop.
And it's just so. It also just like gives you more of Mauro Motsue's character, because she also like barely says. I don't even think she says a word in this sequence.
No.
But you just see her like look at like these like cleanish spaces that are just in like weird spots. Like one's by the airport.
Yeah.
I forget what one of the other ones is, but this post office is just like so run down. There are like chickens and goats like just
she
running.
walks in the door, and isn't there a donkey just like
yeah,
hey,
it's a donkey. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm a donkey.
Thanks for noticing me.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, and like also what's very important as well of the location is like it's in the center of town.
Yeah.
So she can hear everything that's going on.
Yeah. Super good. And so yeah, you see her and her friends setting it up, and putting up the sign.
The sequence with the sign is very good. They keep adding to it. It's very fun.
So it just starts out as detective agency. Okay, that's not quite enough. And then we get painted on the ladies' detective agency. And then it's like, wait, you know what? Not quite yet. And then added number 1, N-O period, the numeral 1, like with a little carrot because it didn't quite fit. Yeah. And then Maru Matsue goes back up and puts an apostrophe next to the word ladies.
This is very
to make
good.
it grammatically correct. Well, somehow grammatically correct, but also there's only one lady.
Well, no, I mean, I would say the secretary's a lady.
Well, that is true.
She's a lady.
But she hasn't been hired yet.
That's true.
But she has posted about a secretary job because that's
so she's
a thing
probably
coming up.
Yeah.
But I do think we missed something.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
We missed the introduction of Mr. JLB Mataconi.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
As she's
so good.
en route to Habarone.
Yeah.
So, unlike the book, JLB is not a friend of the family's.
Right.
He just happens, he owns this business, as he does in the book. He owns this garage. He has a tow truck. Her tiny white van, which is a flatbed, breaks down, and he comes to pick her up.
Yeah.
And en route to town, they see a bunch of lights before they get to Habarone.
Yeah.
And she inquires, like, oh, are we that close already? And he goes, no, I believe something is wrong. They pull over, and it's a search party for a missing boy.
Yeah. And this was in the first novel, the main thread of like the biggest mystery of the book. And again, this is like Murder, She Wrote. This pilot is a feature-length pilot. It is an hour and 50 minutes long. And it's great. Like, absolutely every second of it is necessary. So, but it's like it's sitting down to watch a movie. It's not an episode of even though it's an episode of a TV show, it does not feel like it. It feels like a full movie.
Yeah.
So we start off with the regrouping.
I would like to say there was during that sequence before they get to the search party, there's a moment where he's like, well, what are you moving into town for, basically?
Oh,
and she's like, I'm going to start a detective agency. And he's like, well, it looks like the bad men have to watch out. And like, two people have like basically been like, yeah, you'll be good at that. And it was like her dad and then him.
Yeah.
And like getting that confidence from certain people, you can tell like immediately makes her go, okay, I can trust this person, as opposed to like the lawyer and several other people that are like, a woman doing anything.
Yeah. So at first, there is not much going on at the detective agency. And so we actually get a really fun sequence of a woman coming in and going to the window, because it's a former post office and asking for stamps. And Marumotsue says, "No, I'm so sorry. This is a detective agency now. You can't get stamps here." She's like, "Oh, well, can I get envelopes? Can I get these other things that you find at post offices?" And finally, Marumotsue just says, "Well, you can have an envelope. No charge. It's fine."
This stinks. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very fun.
But eventually we get a woman comes to the door, and she gets really excited that she has her first client, brings her into the office, sits her down, and she has been, the woman has been, like, silent. And Marumotsue says, "No, I'm so sorry if we get interrupted because I have my secretary, as someone who is, I'm going to interview for my secretary position is coming in, and she got a 96% on her secretary exam, and she seems amazing. I'm so excited about that. Now tell me what's going on." And the woman finally says, 97%. Unprecedented. Oh, well, okay then. Do you know her? No. It's, of course, Mamakutsi, who is the secretarial candidate. And they say, that most secretaries are very, very young and, dress all revealingly and whatnot. And that's how men hire secretaries.
Yeah.
And Marumotsue, of course, doesn't like that idea. So she says, "Well, you're hired, and if I like you after a month, then I will keep you on." And so, great, we have a secretary now. And, oh gosh. And then JLB brings in these two typewriters.
Yeah.
Yes.
That
it's my favorite part of the episode.
It's insanity. I love it so much. One is missing an H key, and the other one is missing other keys. And he's like, between the two of them, I'm sure you'll be able to figure out something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you get this lovely, like, back and forth between Marumotsue and him, and them going, "Oh, you're a great friend. Oh, no, you're a great friend. Oh, no, you're a great friend." And the secretary is just like, "Hey, this cannot be. I need a computer."
Yeah.
Because, like, up until this point, there's no, like indication of, like, what time period it necessarily is. And then her immediately going, hey, the internet exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have I stepped into a time warp?
Yeah.
It's just
So
like, oh, she's so great.
Oh, I love her.
Nikanoni Rose is so good.
There's a funny bit of information that, who plays Marumotsue again?
Jill Scott.
Jill Scott and she are roughly the same age, which you wouldn't, I don't think with the way the show is presented, guess that. Because, who plays the secretary again?
Nikanoni Rose.
She seems so young.
Interesting.
Yeah, she seems like a 19-year-old woman.
She is very petite.
Yeah.
So that
and
as a person who is also petite, like, I get mistaken for younger than I am all the time.
And I think it's a combination of that also just the way she presents herself in this episode, at least. I think there are certain things.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just is interesting. I never would have guessed that.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're roughly the same age.
Yeah.
Yes, Nikanoni Rose, of course, is Disney's Princess Tiana from Princess and the Frog. And she is also a stage actress, I believe Tony Award winning.
Yeah, Tony Award winner for Caroline or Change in 2004.
That's right, exactly. Yep.
It's either right before Mamakutsi is hired or right after. But we see Marumotsue looking very despondent over not having very many clients.
Yes.
And we get more of an introduction to a character not introduced in the book, but in the series, BK, the hairdresser next door.
Yes.
Who's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
sees her looking despondent, goes over and reassures her, and it's a nice little throwback to the book that she has this book. I forget the name of the author.
Oh, yes,
but it's
right.
book, the detective book that she sent away for.
Yeah.
In the novel.
Mm-hmm. He has the dopest fits. I love every shirt he wears. It's so good. He's so fun.
Yeah.
Yes, and he says, you know what I will do when I have someone telling me their problems when I'm cutting their hair? I will send them over to my good friend, the detective next door.
Oh.
And she says, when I am, listening to my clients, I will send them, and they have bad hair, I will send them over to you. Oh, and then of course we get a sequence where he meets Mama Kutsi and sees her hair and is like, please come see me. And then her hair does very quickly change.
Yeah.
It's very fun.
Yeah, it's pretty great. But yes, he's wonderful. Mm-hmm. And so finally one day, a woman comes to the door, and her name is Happy Papetzi.
Yeah.
Like the first story out of the book. And the way they do all the cases in this is she kind of is solving them all at once.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is really kind of cool because, I mean, that's how you would do it.
You would collect clients, and then you have... Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you take only one case?
Mm-hmm.
Why only go to... You have 3 cases when you could have 1.
Right, yeah.
I'm glad that resonated with you, Tyler.
Oh, gosh, that's so good. Oh, I'm sorry. If you don't know what we're referencing,
The meme.
I think it's...
The Vine.
It's the video. Like,
Yeah,
it's
the
like a
video.
13-minute
Yeah.
YouTube video. Why shop at 4 or 5 stores when you can shop at 1?
Next time I have to memorize commercial copy.
Oh.
That's what I'm going to do for that.
Okay, all right.
I will send it to you, Melissa. It's
Thank
very
you.
It's so
it's
good.
very funny.
Yeah.
It was clearly like an acting class that
Went
was
terribly wrong.
Yeah, that this was like their final project. It's fascinating.
Oh, that's fun.
I don't have friends. They disappoint me.
I'm very excited to see this, and I'm sure the rest of the internet is too. If they haven't already. I mean, I might have just been the only person who hasn't seen it. But at any rate. Yeah, so we get Happy Papetzi, and her case is the one where she, long time ago, not before she was born, but kind of just after she was born, her father died, and she had a nice life with her mom, and that was super great, and she was never really that sad about her dad because she didn't really know him.
Yeah.
So lo and behold, not that long ago in present day, after her mother is now dead, she gets someone on her doorstep saying, hey, I'm your father, take care of me now. And she
Search
does.
your feelings, you know it to be true.
Right, yeah. And so she takes care of him, waits on him hand and foot, brings him his beer, blah, blah, blah. And she says, now listen, I wouldn't mind this because it is my duty as a daughter, but I don't think he's actually my daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so...
Which gives us the best line in the whole thing, which is Maru Motsue saying, not the daddy. Which, I want to get that clip and use it as a reaction. Just like every time someone's like, this person's attractive. Hey, guess what? Not the daddy.
Yes.
So good. So she gets very excited, and Mama Kutsi is also very excited to take notes.
Anytime Mama Kutsi is giving it, if there's anything that she can do,
she will.
She's just so over the moon about it.
Yeah.
And comes up, I think, with the name of the case. Happy Babetzi and the case of the dubious daddy.
It's so good.
Just yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, please, more.
Everyone should have that kind of pride in their work.
It's so good. So, so we get a shot of Maru Motsue sitting at her desk, and Mama Kutsi comes in and says, So I have taken notes on the case, and we have no developments, nothing has happened, and nothing. And Madame Motsue is like, yes, that's very accurate, thank you. Like, not with any snark, but just like, perfect, thank you for being so thorough.
Yeah.
And Mama Kutsi is like, so, are you gonna do literally anything? Maybe? I don't know. She's like, well, I am doing something. I'm thinking. Well, and it's really cool because Mama Kutsi says, oh, all right, great. I will leave you to your work then. I mean, this is your work. My work is secretary work.
Yeah.
You do you.
It doesn't Maharam Watsu have her go file that?
Oh, yes. Go make a folder so you can file it.
That's very good. There's also this consistent theme throughout all of the detective novels or media that we've really, with the exception of Murder, She Wrote, where, like, there's just a scene where basically the detective is like, give me a minute. Let me think about some stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas with Murder, She Wrote, it seems to, like, at least in the pilot, like, come to her like a bolt of lightning.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, as opposed to, like, which is kind of fun with, like, a subconscious brain aspect, patent office, blah, 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 blah. But yeah. Like, Poirot is that same way of, like, I need 25 minutes alone.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
To think.
So then we get another client coming in saying, I think my husband is cheating on me. Yep.
This one.
Yeah. And so, we start in on this case too. And she goes to, Maru Motsue goes to JLB and says, so where would a man go if he wanted to pick up a woman? And he's like, why do you want to know that?
Because JLB is sprung.
Yeah.
He is so into Maru Motsue.
Oh my goodness. It is the most pure thing. It's very sweet and very earnest and wonderful. Yeah. And so he's reluctantly tells her, well, there's this place called, what is it?
The Handsome Men's Go-Go Bar.
Which I think is in Midtown.
I mean...
Or is it the Go-Go Handsome Men's Bar? It's one of the
I think it's
Go Handsome Men's Bar.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, like, oh, all right. That's a... paints a picture with that title there. Yeah, so...
She goes there.
She goes there. She does. And she asks for an iced tea. And...
Pokemon Go-Go? Is that anything? Dancing Pokemon? I don't know. Remember?
Find out in Detective Pikachu, hitting theaters this year.
Do you remember Pokemon Let's Go to the Polls? Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh, that poor woman.
We will be watching Detective Pikachu.
Absolutely.
Of course. What do you expect from us?
We're going to go to the premiere.
Yeah.
Live tweet it in the theater.
Theater, we're the worst people.
We'll sit in the back row.
Yeah. I just want to touch a Bulbasaur. They look so cute.
Okay. We thought that was going someplace completely different.
They look like little French bulldogs.
They do look like
they're
so cute. I want to pet a Bulbasaur.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all.
Just the phrasing.
Yeah.
Touched by a Bulbasaur.
So she goes to the Go-Go Handsome Men's Bar.
Yeah.
Orders the iced tea.
Which they don't have.
Yeah. There's no brisk here, thank you.
Yeah.
So she asks for a small beer.
Yes.
And everyone's looking at her very, very judgingly.
Yes.
She goes and...
Because she does not have lipstick on.
No, she does not.
As the bartender pointed out to her.
She's like, do you want to borrow mine?
I mean...
I promise I don't have herpes.
Heaven forbid you don't have lipstick on as a woman in a bar where men go. Whoa, the travesty.
I know when I look at a woman. Tyler, you can weigh on this too. Melissa, stay silent, please.
Hashtag not all men.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Boycott Gillette. Consent.
No, the bit is good. Like, everyone knew where the bit was going. It's fine. It's an inferred bit.
Yeah, we don't have to beat it over everybody's head.
Yeah, it's all right. So she's there, and she gets introduced to the best character in this played by, what is his name again?
David Oyelowo.
Oh, he's so good.
You know him from Selma.
Yes.
You know him from...
Oh,
yeah, MLK himself.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, that's him, oh my gosh.
Yes.
Okay.
He is.
He's so good.
He is also like a Lambda graduate. He's been on stages across Europe and the United States. He is a actor in every sense of the word. And in this role, he brings a Jim Carrey level of energy.
Oh my gosh.
That
is so good.
Is incredible. Also, dope fits. He's in this beautiful suit.
Yes. His name is Kremlin, which I think gives away a lot about this character. If you have not listened to the episode about the novel.
That's why he's acting strangely. He drank after midnight, and now he's done. He's so good. This performance is so fun.
Oh, it's really fantastic. So yeah. This is clearly the husband of the client, and he is hardcore hitting on Maru Motsue. Like, not even a little bit subtle.
No. And can I say what I love about his performance is there would have been a temptation to try and make him like a smooth guy, like, hey, baby, what's going on? But he is just like so like eager, for lack of a better term. He's so invested, and it works really well.
There is not enough water in the Kalahari River to quench his thirst.
Yeah. No. And he makes no apologies about it at all. He says, if you don't go home with me, or like if I can't come home with you, I will kill myself. He
right actually, there in the street.
Yeah. Oh boy.
And I'm not being hyperbolic. That is what he says.
That is what he says, literally. They take an Uber.
Apparently.
They call a cab.
And because he says that he is not married. Because she says, well, you're not married, are you? I would never.
I'm as single as Jesus Christ.
Yeah. That is what he says.
So he means he's maybe with a sex worker? I don't know. There's a lot of speculation about that. There's also there's a moment in the cab where he's like, well, let's go to your house. And she's like, oh, why not yours? He's like, I live far away. I can't possibly. Ooh.
Yeah.
And there's no iced tea at his house.
There's no iced tea at his house. That's
and I
true.
bet there's iced tea at your house.
And I bet you have a love seat for your lovely seat.
Yeah.
And I was like,
real thing
this is perfect.
Yeah. It's so silly.
Yeah. So she puts on a record.
At which he basically is like, look at that butt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I like that butt.
And it's also telling. When Kremlin first gets a look at.
Sorry. That's just such a, he's so, for someone who is so sexual to be named Kremlin, which sounds like a brand of biscotti. It's so, sorry.
No, that's perfectly fine. When Kremlin first gets a look at Maru Motsue, there is this trumpet player playing.
Yes.
Okay.
And we get kind of like this silhouetted flashback of her ex-husband, a trumpet player, Noth Makoti. Mm-hmm. And now they're back at the house, and she puts on a record by Note. And she's still kind of in her feelings about him. You can tell there's something still going on there.
Right.
To the point where I think she kind of just allows herself to get lost in music and lost in the moment somewhat with Kremlin. She lets her guard down, perhaps a touch too much.
Yeah.
While he's in her home.
Yeah, just for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Because she does start playing into the whole thing, because what her client wants is proof that her husband is cheating. So she is like, all right, well, we got to get proof somehow. So she sits down next to him and pulls out a camera, and he is very turned on by this.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be a
swing,
like a camera diary. So it's this first one's going to be the kiss. And so they take a few pictures of them kissing. She gets up and is like, all right, bye.
She's like, you have to leave. You have to go.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like, bah?
Yeah.
It's like, next time it's fine. And I'm like, that's fair. Yeah. That's also believable that would be an occurrence.
And he also keeps mentioning her weight, just like in the book.
Yeah.
He keeps calling her, like, my fetty and things like of that nature.
Yeah.
Again, not as an insult, but, like, this is something that is something that's prized in women in this country.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, she now has her pictures.
Yeah.
Great. So we move on to, I mean, I guess we can just wrap this up. It does not happen in this order in the episode.
That's true.
Yeah.
But what does end up happening later on in the episode is we get her client coming in, waiting for the proof that her husband is unfaithful. And she's like, oh, well, you're going to probably want to sit down and look at these in private. And so she and Mama Kutsi go in the other room, but, like, there's a little window that you can see into and they're, like, both standing watching her. And then I keep forgetting the client's name. That's why I keep calling her the client.
Alice. Alice Busong.
Alice. Okay, thank you. Then Alice comes back around and says, so what you have given me proof of is that you are a husband stealer.
Yeah.
A fat tot.
She calls her a slut with so much sincerity. And I have never seen that. And it shocked me so much that I did laugh. Because I was like, oh no.
The actress, Nikki, and there's like...
Minaj.
No.
This isn't Barbershop. Continue.
Her last name is Burr, but she's a proper stage and film actress and television actress in the UK as well. She's also on Luther and one of the later seasons.
Luther.
If you have, it was formerly Scrotal Recall, but also Lovesick on Netflix. She's in that for a bit. Like, she's a proper,
I forgot
actress in her
name.
own right.
Nikki Amuka Bird is her name.
Nikki Amuka Bird. Yeah.
She is Nigerian. Nigerian-born British actor. Nikki Amuka Bird.
Yeah,
she's fantastic, and this is like also much like David Oyelowo with like the most I've ever seen her like kind of cut loose and like have fun a bit.
Also very interesting because they get a lot of heavy hitters vis-a-vis like BBC and like stage actors for these bit parts.
Yeah,
which is very cool because like Idris Elba is in this show, which is fascinating because he's in 2 scenes.
Yeah.
And like now if you were like, oh, he's in this, he has to be the star, correct? He is somehow involved in every episode. It's like, no.
Actually the thing that I was just looking up, it says that there's people that receive star billing like Amuka Bird and in the feature-length pilot, but did not continue as series regulars.
Yeah.
So, like, just kind of,
Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, this was also filmed originally just to be a television movie.
Oh.
But it went over so well with both BBC and HBO that they decided to try to attempt a series.
Well, then that makes it make sense of especially the length of it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we then, what is the next thing we get introduced to?
Well, we have to wrap up with Happy Babetsi.
Happy Babetsi,
yes.
Sure.
Whose father is played by the brilliant John Connie.
Yes.
Who most people known as T'Chaka. T'Challa's father in the Black Panther universe. And who is the proper South African playwright and actor who is mostly known for his work with Alpha Fugard in Sizwe Banzi is Dead.
Oh, excellent. Yes, and we get him for one scene, and he's wonderful.
When she's spying on him, and he has that cane, and then he immediately drops the cane and just like walks back into the house. It's so good.
Yeah, well,
it's like a cartoon level of disguise. It's so good.
Yeah, it's really great. So, Mara Motsue figures out that she is gonna. She's watching the television. This is how she figures this out, and this was such a nice touch that I don't think was out of the book. I think this was
this was a change.
But it was so smart
and heartbreaking.
Yeah. So she's watching the father of the boy that was missing in that early scene where we're driving into town, and he's doing an interview looking for his son, and her friend, the hairdresser, what is his name again? BK comes over and says, "This is why I don't want to have children. Like, you can see that this man would tear himself in two to get his son back."
Mm-hmm.
And Marumotsue says, "Yes. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you." That's her little light bulb moment. You've given me what we call a breakthrough.
Mm-hmm.
And so she devises this plan to figure out whether or not this daddy is actually Happy Papetzi's daddy. So
not the daddy.
Not the daddy. And so she goes and borrows a nurse's outfit.
And I also love that that's also like kind of a callback to the book without it like really beating us over the head about like how they describe like the nurse outfit as being too snug.
Yeah.
And they make reference to that as well.
They do. Yeah, yeah. Because I think that the nurse who's loaning it to her says, you know, "Is there anything more I could do for you?" And she says something about like, you know, make it be like 2 sizes bigger or something like that.
Yeah.
But she gets this nurse's uniform is the word,
mm-hmm.
and an ambulance.
Yeah.
And drives over to the house and says, "Oh my goodness, emergency, emergency. Your daughter, Happy Papetzi, has been horribly wounded and she needs a blood transfusion. Come into this ambulance." And he's like, "Okay, we will make her better. You know, we have plenty of money. It's no problem.
Yeah. We will buy all the blood."
We will buy all the blood. And
which is honestly a goal for me. I've seen Daybreakers. I want that for myself.
But yeah, the amount of blood that Marumotsue says that Happy has lost is so much. It is absurd. There is no way a human being could still be alive and lose this much blood.
It's amazing.
Yeah. She says she has lost half of her blood, at least, and will need half of his blood because only her daddy could give her the blood because she has such a rare blood type,
mm-hmm.
that it would take half of his blood, at least. And whereupon, of course, he admits,
he's like,
"No, there's been a mistake.
There's been a mistake. The mistake was I lied. Oopsie. That's on me."
Yeah, and so she opens up the back of the ambulance and says, "Get out." And he's like, "Wait, right here? Yeah, in the middle of a train track, in the middle of nowhere, it looks like." She's like, "Yes, you are nothing. You are awful. Yeah. You are a liar. Get out now. You are not a man," or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think she says that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you see him like walking down in the middle of the train track. Yeah. There's no train coming, but like it's very very bleak.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he just puts his arms out and shouts, "Women!"
Yeah.
They're like, yeah.
Yeah. So that wraps up the Happy Papetzi bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And because we get actually quite a few cases from the
original,
first book,
from
the book.
Mm-hmm.
We also get the one where the man is putting in an insurance claim.
Yes.
And her client is the guy who was his employer that he's trying to get the money from. And he says, "Listen, if it's a legitimate claim, I will pay it, but I really don't think it is, and I could use this money to help so many other people."
Yeah.
And in fact, he says, like, even if it is a false claim, I will still pay the $4,000, but I will do it to a charity instead.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly, which is super great.
And the opening of, like, this case is him getting a manicure by BK. From BK.
I missed this somehow. That's amazing.
Yeah, you see BK's like really ornate nails, and it's just like this really great scene, just between like these two men, and then Mauro Matsui comes in and they start talking about it.
Absolutely.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
So she goes and she asks Mama Kutsi to get her all of the claims about missing fingers.
Yeah, she just throws a telephone book because they recently purchased a telephone. But she's like, I can't work this way.
Yeah.
Oh
God, this
Mauro
so
Matsui is like, there's a public phone right outside the door. Like, why do I need to buy one?
She's like,
because God forbid someone wants to call you.
Yeah.
She's like, that's why I have a secretary, so you can take messages when people come by. But she does give in, and Mama Kutsi gets the telephone. So she gets all the claims, and she deduces that she needs to go to the lawyer because it looks like multiple different claims have been filed about the finger.
The same finger.
Yeah.
Nonetheless.
Because he's only missing the one. And there is some sort of like dig made. It's like, well, I mean, unless you've lost the same finger 8 times, or unless you have, way more fingers than other people, I don't know what's going on.
And she goes to the lawyer. It's the same lawyer, her father's lawyer.
Yeah, Lucky Sasana.
Which I think is a nice bit. And
which is a different thing from the book.
Yes, it is.
Right.
Yeah. And they make a bet of like, I bet you, what is it, 4,000?
1,000.
1,000 Pula that like... Okay, right, because he gets 25%.
Yeah, 1,000 that this will not pay out.
Yeah, this won't. And he's like, well, I would hate to take your money. And she's like, well, see it as like a punishment for my bad judgment. And he's like, okay, fine, you got me. And then she pulls out all this evidence of like, not only like in the book, it's like he has tried this like three times.
Yeah.
But in the show, it's like 5.
Yeah.
Which is hysterical.
Yeah.
And he represented him every single time.
Yeah.
So he knows what the deal is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And,
a crooked lawyer? Never.
And this guy was so not great to Mauro Matsui at the beginning of the episode that it's like, haha, I got you. It's very, very satisfying.
Yes.
So she goes and confronts this man who is making all these claims. And it turns out that, he's doing this really shady thing, but it's because he is trying to help all these children and, like, support them. And it's, like, for a really good reason. It's a little bit of a Robin Hood kind of deal.
Yeah.
But she takes pity on him and says, listen, I'm not going to report you, but don't figure out a way to do this honestly, because if I ever see you do this again, I'm going to have to.
Yeah.
Like, I can't. But, and she, like, there's a lovely framed moment where she, like, puts her hand on his shoulder or something like that.
Yeah. Just
to be like, you're okay. Yeah. But don't do this again. Not the way to go about it. Not the way.
Yeah. Meanwhile, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Meanwhile, back at JLB's garage.
Exactly.
Yes.
He's got a car repair.
Yeah, and Mauro Matsui is talking to him about one of the other cases that we wrapped up earlier than it did in the episode.
Yeah.
And you see that there's something bothering
He's
JLB,
sweating.
and he just like snaps at his 2 workers and tells them to leave because they're like not doing any work and like joking off too much.
Yeah.
Overtime. You always talk about overtime. You should talk about undertime, which is perfect.
Yeah, it's great.
Every boss.
Yeah. And he also, it's the only time we ever see him be short with Mauro Matsui.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is, she knows something is up because she's like, I don't think this is about me. I think this is about you. And he says, okay, you want to see what
you got me.
Yeah. Let's get into this other car. Because he's kind of scolding her for the way she brakes her car. Because she keeps having to come in and have her brakes repaired, which, I mean, clearly she's doing something wrong.
Yeah,
and we do find out later it's very funny that she does not take the emergency brake off.
Yeah.
That solves the problem. But at any rate, so they go and sit in this other car that they have, and open up the glove compartment and find this bag full of dark magic, like talismans and things like that.
Full
bad
of
medicine.
Yeah. And there is one piece
Sorry,
that
it's
is...
not bag of bones, like this old bag of bones.
Oh, okay.
That's all.
Oh, gosh. Join us as Tristan Miller does a rendition of Dem Bones.
Dem dry bones.
Yeah, so there is one piece that is a finger, a human finger. And Ramotsue then, of course, completely understands what is bothering JLB. And she is trying to figure out, because, he says that the person whose car this is, kind of scary, not a good guy, definitely into some shady dealings.
Yeah, he's essentially like a mafioso or like a gang leader.
Right, essentially. So they get out of the car, and then you see her smash the heck out of the driver's side window. And she says, and he's like, "What are you doing?" She says, "What you're going to do is you're going to call him and say someone broke into the car and stole something. And then you're going to refer him to your good friend, the best detective in Botswana." And she's like, "All right." So that happens. And he comes by and sees her. And he is not a good guy.
No.
And he wants to go to a, remote location. But,
Yeah, and they're at, like, a cake stand.
Yeah.
They're at a cake stand with lots of really cool-looking cakes. And he asks if this cake is chocolate.
And she's like, "I don't know."
Yeah. And he, puts his hand in to the cake. And...
By the way, this is Idris Elba.
Yes.
It's one of those things where if she had not had an end game, she wouldn't have popped him. I would have.
I don't care for this much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she probably would have told him off for doing that.
Popped him one? Did you just say he would have popped him one?
Yeah, like a little,
Yeah, just like a little
thwack.
Tagged him. Yeah, tagged him. Boom. Yep. No, that's amazing. I just haven't heard that term in a while.
Oh, sure. Yeah. But yes, so he's sitting there eating this cake that was clearly labored over.
Yeah.
And saying, I want the names of these two boys who stole my stuff so I can take care of them. And she says no. I made a deal that they give me back the stuff, and I don't share their names. I forget who they are. And so she also asks, I need the name of your dark magic person. I forget what the brand of dark magic.
Muti.
Okay. And so I want to know this person because I, have to deal with this bad man in my life. And he gives her the name. Okay. So he says, "Where is my stuff?" She says, "It's in the cake." And so he picks up the cake and walks away.
And she goes 500 pula, and he just slaps some money down. And is like, "I'm mad.
Yeah,
I'm really mad about this whole thing."
Yep, it's great. So she then goes to find the Muti man.
There's a bit that I think is important because it comes back later on. Though.
Sure.
Mamakutsi, the secretary, is watching. And she is also taping everything.
Yeah.
The whole conversation,
right.
which is important later on, which is a change from the book, yes?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, also because his associate at one point pulls aside this sweet child and buys her ice cream. And, Idris Elba's character is like, it would be a shame for something to happen to her. She needs to make it safely back from... it's super gross.
Yeah. Not ideal.
Yeah. So she goes to see the Muti man and finds his wife, who is not a very pleasant person.
No.
I might say.
I mean, yeah, she's not a pleasant person, but also, if you were doing this, I don't think you'd be pleasant either. I think that is, that's very consistent, is what I'm saying. It makes sense that they would both be unpleasant people.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because there is nothing scarier than, a polite, evil person. That cognitive dissonance is just baffling.
Yeah, I mean, people are terrified by me for sure.
Yeah. Someone like who will hold the door open for you and then murder you. Like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very creepy.
Think about who let you in this room, Tristan.
Well, you had to be invited in because you are a vampire.
Now I have to go.
All right, so she goes confronts this woman.
Yes. And she says, you know, can I see your husband? No, he's not here. She says, okay, well, I want to let you know I am a typist and I was typing something up for the police and they're going to come arrest your husband for the murder of this kid and they're going to hang you too for it.
Yeah, which was fascinating that they still do hangings.
Yes. Yes.
Whew.
Yeah. It's a heck of a thing. Tristan is contemplating apparently hangings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember at one point, because you talk about hangings a fair amount in like junior school when you're learning about history and stuff like that.
Right.
And there's that hanged hung thing.
Yeah.
And at one point, a friend of mine is like, hung is like a poster, hanged is like a person. And I'm just like, ugh.
But a hung man can be hanged.
Yeah. Both. Why not both?
You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our super fun crime and punishment segment. But I mean, yeah. So where are we?
She goes and she's like, lead me to the boy.
Right.
And she goes,
oh, yeah,
fine.
because it's like the woman freaks out about being hanged.
Yes.
And she's like, no, I can't be hanged if the boy's still alive. And the boy is alive.
Yeah. And she's like, well, prove it.
Yeah.
And then she, unlike in the book, they walk there. In this one, they drive.
They do.
And she does try to make a conversation.
Yeah, they drove in the book. Because remember when she gets in the van, like she leaves her at the cattle post.
That's
right. I
Yeah.
misremembered. I'm sorry. But she tries to make conversation. And she's like, no. I don't have any interest in learning about you.
Yeah.
I don't want any empathy or sympathy for you as a person because this is too much.
Yep.
And they go, and the boy's there.
And so, okay, this confused me. So maybe you can help clear it up.
Sure.
Because they check his hands, and he has all his fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
How does this work?
Because it was, I'm assuming it was another boy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
He was alive.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. So she gets the boy back and brings him back to his father, and his father is super happy about it.
This was the thing that I missed from the book. This is the moment that I wanted to happen.
Yeah, I did cry. I would have liked, and this is like a very objective thing, I would have liked a close-up of them. I would have liked, because they shoot it in wide, and it's very nice, and Maru Motsue has this really lovely reaction. And we get that. I'm like, I would have framed this differently. If I was the cinematographer, I would have done it differently. But it's a beautiful moment and incredibly well acted on everybody's part.
Yeah.
It's great because he's teaching at a school and just he seizes and immediately does not give a crap.
Yeah.
About any of those other kids.
Oh, of course.
As you would.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
It's really lovely. And we do get flashbacks for Maru Motsue flashing back to her child during this sequence, and she's certainly sad about not having her child, of course, but it does seem like she is taking great comfort in being able to help another child get back to their parents.
Yes.
So like you can the acting it's subtle, but it's so good. Jill Scott is just like, it's very clear that she is really, really happy about being able to reunite this father and son. Like that gives her great peace, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello everybody, it's Tristan, the Saucy Sleuth, coming at you with some sauce. I got ranch, I got pasta, I got other kind of white pasta sauce, I got a third sauce that is associated closely with a cartoon that a lot of people like. I have many sauces for your consumption. Consumption is TBD. This is Tristan, reminding you that we have a Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/TristanMiller Tristan J. Miller for more information there. I put out a lot of internet content. This is one of them. Any donations, pledges, whatever you want to call it, where you note, hey, it's for Amateur Detective Club, I will obviously share with Melissa and Tyler. We're currently trying to save up for a new mixer so we can add a third mic to the program so the audio quality will appreciate in value. Also, we have merchandise. We got merchandise on Teespring. Go to teespring.com, search The Mill. Also, we've tweeted out a link. We have mugs for you, and I think also stickers or something? I can't remember what I made. I'm sorry. That's on me. But we definitely have mugs. And mugs are great. They're great for coffee or tea or, as Perot likes a lot, cocoa. Also, please, if you like the show, recommend it to others, rate, review, subscribe, etc., etc., etc. Let's get back to the program.
Yeah.
And then it's the ending celebration, right?
Yeah, we see this like town play, I guess.
It's for an orphanage.
Yes, it's a fundraiser for the orphanage.
Yes,
you're right.
And the guy who gives 4,000 pula to them because he's like, there you go.
And the 1,000 pula that Mauro Matsui won from Lucky Sasana is donated also to the orphanage as well.
Big check, little check joke. It's very solid. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's real good.
Yeah.
And this orphanage plays a part throughout the first season, which is really nice.
Excellent. So yeah, and we get a lovely scene. Of JLB and Mauro Matsui sitting next to each other, and I don't remember what the beginning of the conversation was, but she says something to the effect of, I would do anything for you. You're such a good friend.
Oh, they're talking about the handbrake or the e-brake.
Oh, it is. It's the e-brake conversation, right? And he says, "Oh, really? Will you marry me? You wouldn't marry me, would you?" How does he put it?
She's like, anything but that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is heartbreaking, but also the actor playing JLB is so good. Because he's like, clearly it's on his mind from the beginning of the conversation, and he's like fidgeting, and like, it's very good. He's a very strong actor. Also during the sequence, we get a cut to Idris Elba being arrested, which is different than in the book as well.
We don't get that.
Which is, I understand, because specifically, you mentioned it's a movie, they have to wrap up everything. Right. Otherwise, every audience member would be like, okay, he just goes scot-free. He's just fine.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I mean, could be.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we get that sad little moment, and it is one of those things that we lose something because that moment, an equivalent moment in the book, we get a beautiful description that, I mean, go back and listen to that episode because Tyler reads it out of the passage, just like how heartbroken he is, but just how much energy it took for him to ask her.
Yeah.
So we lose that a little bit, but the acting is quite fine.
Yeah.
It's just so sweet because he's like, and I think I mentioned this in the other episode, like he's like, it feels like a 12-year-old boy. Like he's so shy about it, and there's like very little vibrato, and it's just so sweet. It's just so sweet.
And again, I'm just like, I'll marry you, JLB.
Yeah. He's such a
what
good
do
guy.
I mean? Not vibrato. Bravado.
Bravado.
Yeah.
The TV where Project Runway is. Bravado TV. A counter to it. Truly.
Exactly. So yeah, and then we get this really cool credit sequence where there's these animations.
Yeah.
Oh, before that though.
Ooh.
One final wrap up to the Kremlin story.
Okay, yes.
When when they're closing up shop for the day, and Mauro Matsui's walking out, and they do like a pan up to the sign.
Yeah.
Where the wife has like gone and like written the #1 ladies husband stealing agency.
It's very good. It's very funny.
It's so good.
Yeah. So we get this super cool animated credit sequence, and it kind of, harkens back to moments from the movie, I guess, episode, and you get these little moments of like the animated character saying a line from a different moment. And it's super lovely.
Yeah. The opening title sequence is also amazing.
Yeah, it's
big fan.
Pretty great. What do we think?
I give it a 9.5. Because of the fact that it is just very long. That is the only reason. That is to me, the only issue with it is that it is a long thing. And I also watched it under circumstances, like I was on my laptop and not on a TV, and like, because I was watching it illegally. And so like, it was fine. And it was like, but other than that, the writing is solid. The acting is solid. The story is good. It's also a lot lighter and funnier than the book. And it did not have that slump that the book had with the performance. And so it's just all around very, very, very fine piece of work. And at no point was I bored. Even though I'd heard the stories before.
Right.
Which was very, like, that's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard to do. And I was like, oh, cool, this is how they're doing this. It's very nice. It was very good.
Yeah. Gosh, I have a hard time giving things full marks because I always like to give a little wiggle room for room to grow. So I'm going to give it a 9.5 as well. But, like, that is the only reason I'm giving it a 9.5 is that, I mean, you know.
Yeah. Had I seen this episode without the context of doing it for the podcast, I would still be interested in watching the rest of the series.
For sure.
So.
Yeah. So
it's an effective pilot.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just saving that half for, like, I don't know, another episode in the series that just, you know, is transcendent or something. But it's so good. It's really great.
Tyler?
No half marks, no chaplains, no handlebars. I give it a full 10.
This is by far the most satisfied Tyler has ever looked on this program.
Oh my god. I love this so much. I love this series so much. There are like episodes that I would not give a full 10.
Sure.
And I feel like there is an episode this season that will get a 10 from everyone. I feel in my heart and in my bones.
Yes.
In my mooty bones.
Them dry bones.
Them dry, dark magical bones.
Can that be your new Twitter handle? Please, Tyler, do this for the podcast.
Dark
for the
magical
brand.
bones. For the doing it for the tweets.
Yep, do it for the vibe.
Oh boy.
Yeah, the only thing, and it's only like a me thing.
Yeah.
Which is like, I wish Jill Scott sang more in the episode.
She
but
does sing once, and it's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she's a singer first, actor second, right? Yeah. Which is, I shouldn't be impressed by that because there are a lot of actors that sing and singers that act, but like I'm always like, oh, great.
Yeah,
great.
It's one of those things because like
she's really good.
I mean, if Anika Noni Rose like broke out in song, you'd be like, oh,
yeah, yeah.
Because also, and it's one of those things like if you get famous for doing something that is not singing, it's always like, oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
Like when Kristen Bell was in Frozen, I was like, oh, I didn't know this about you.
Yeah,
but like clearly she's very musical. She sings great.
She started in musical theater.
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I will probably get famous for doing something non-musical, probably. And then everyone's gonna be like, oh, Melissa Meli, she can sing. It's like, yeah, both my parents were opera singers. Of course I can.
Me along the same lines. Like, oh, he tried. He put in the effort.
I would love to get famous as a dramatic actor, and then people are like, "Oh, he does stand-up comedy also."
Right? Yeah.
That'd be fascinating. Yeah. I think there was something like
very Hugh Laurie about it.
Yeah, I suppose. Tyler, what do you have to do?
Oh, we gonna rush me? Is that what we doing?
We're at an hour 20. Yeah.
All right, fine. It seems we are at time.
Well,
so
is there anything anyone else wants to talk about the episode?
I could go in another hour.
Okay.
But we won't.
Tweet at It's Tyler Riley about the episode.
Yes, we'll do a fun little Q&A thing. It'll be great.
You Periscope it up. It's great.
Yeah. You know, that would be fun. You know what? I'm going far too down the rabbit hole. Going far. So I will now call this meeting of the Amateur Detective Club adjourned.
Gavel sound.
Something else.